How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Wolves and welcome back to a brand new match preview on the channel today. First of all, Happy New Year to everybody, anyone that's supported Talking Wolves or watched or liked any of our videos throughout the whole of 2020. Thank you so much. Obviously, it was a difficult year for a lot of people, and, you know, let's hope 2021 is much, much better, and hopefully Wolves can start that with a win this year against Brighton. It's going to be a tough game away at Brighton, a team historically Wolves have struggled against in recent times. But as always, I'm going to be giving my thoughts ahead of the game. We're going to have the opposition perspective as well. But it's always great to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comment section down below what you think ahead of this match. And be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So Brighton and Hove Albion away, a team at the moment who, if you look at the Premier League, are struggling a little bit in terms of points tallies and so on. They've only won 2 games all season, right on the brink of the relegation zone with just 13 points. I don't think they've won in about 7 games as well. So they're a team really, at the moment, on a bit of a shaky path, and Wolves really have to try and take advantage of this. Our season hasn't been great, if we're honest. You know, we could have won games, and we should have won certain games, especially in December. But I think we can take positives out of that performance and that game against Manchester United. Of course, in the end, losing out 1-0 after that late Marcus Rashford goal, but it'll give Nuno lots of encouragement with certain performances from certain players, and it'll be intriguing to see how we can get on and how we move forward against a team like Brighton. January is here now. The transfer window is open. It's clear that Wolves will be wanting to look at some options. So this could be the last chance really for many players to have the opportunity to impress before they start dipping into the transfer market for certain positions. Let's look at the head-to-head though. The Wolves have only beaten Brighton once, I think, in the last 12 attempts. We beat them back on New Year's Day, actually, in 2016 at Brighton. So it was the first fixture of the new year. I think that was a kind of Goldson-owned goal as well, the Wolverhampton lad. But the last 3 games, to be fair, have been draws. We drew 0-0 with them in March. I think that was the last game, wasn't it? Right before the season stops. That was an absolutely dreadful game of football. We drew with them 2-2 in the first fixture last season, and then we drew 0-0 with them as well at Molineux in 2019. So they're a team that are difficult to break down, and you can see that as well in the league because of the amount of games they're drawing. Brighton, 7 draws, 7, but they have got 7 defeats. They have conceded 25 goals and scored 18. Wolves have only scored 15 goals, to be fair. So in terms of goals scored and goals against, it's very similar, but Wolves have grinded out a couple more victories than Brighton have. Graham Potter, obviously in charge of them at the moment, likes to play that attractive football and so on. And I think what he's trying to do is good for Brighton, but maybe he doesn't quite have the squad to do that at the moment. And I think quite similarly to Wolves, possibly, I think Nuno wants to transition into a team that we don't quite have the ability to do right now. So that's possibly what is holding them back. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Brighton because they are still sort of very, you know, they're tiptoeing. They're right on the edge of that relegation zone at the moment. In terms of Wolves, though, after that game against Manchester United, you know, we've had a few days to recover now. I think our next game is in the FA Cup as well. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how Nuno lines up for that, really, if we're going to go for that FA Cup to try and, you know, bring a bit more cheer on this season. But particular players have impressed recently. I think Kiana Hoover did quite well. Ryan Aït-Nouri had an okay game against Manchester United. Vitinha did well. Otasowi's impressed when he's had little cameos as well. So there's lots of options there for Nuno and lots of young players, which should excite us as fans, really. We should take excitement out of that. But there are obviously areas of the team right now that we haven't replaced. We've really struggled since we lost Raul Jimenez. I think we've only won 1 game. If you exclude that Arsenal game, we've only won 1 game since he's been out. So we've really got to improve certain areas and aspects of our game. A big issue right now is clean sheets. I don't think we've kept a clean sheet in 9 games, which is unheard of for Wolves, especially a Nuno side. Look, as fans, I don't think we'd mind conceding goals if we're scoring goals and still going to win games. So Brighton are a team there, fairly shy in front of goal, quite similarly to Wolves, really. I think they do lack that goal scorer, quite similar to us really. So it will be, this could be a bore draw really. But we've had we had a good game against them. I think at the Amex last season, I think Jota scored twice in that game. We had a decent game last time out against them, but this is now going to be quite intriguing to see how Nuno lines up for this game against Brighton. They've got a couple of different formations that they've been trying out, putting players in positions that possibly won't suit that formation. A couple of big players out. I think Lamptey, who's been one of their best players, is out injured as well. So this is the best time really to play Brighton whilst they're fragile to try and grab 3 points. I'm going to hand it over now to the Seagulls Social. They're the Brighton fan podcast over on YouTube. Quite a cool one, this one. There's 3 of them involved, so I've asked them all questions, and here are their answers.
So, my thoughts on Brighton season so far. My name is Ryan. I'm from Seagulls Social, Talk Seagulls, all that stuff. How do I feel about it so far? It's hard to really say. Obviously very disappointing, but we look at the way we've played in all of those games. It's really hard to say that we've deserve to be down where we are. I think anyone that watches football would know that. I think it's just a matter of the fact we can't take our chances and finish teams off when we need to. There's no ruthless clinical streak in the club. So yeah, it's a frustrating one, and I can see us looking at a relegation scrap at the moment. We need to fix up. We need to start cashing on those expected goals, but until we do that, it's not looking very pretty. So yeah, I can't lie. It's not been a great one so far.
What's going on? It's Ben here from Seagulls Social. So our 3 standout players are Yves Bissouma, Tariq Lamptey and Solly March. I'll start with Yves Bissouma. He's been unbelievable for us this season. During Project Restart, he showed some promise, and he's just been so consistent this year. And he's earned interest from the likes of Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal. Even Zidane has talked about him, and apparently there's interest there, according to the Daily Star, but that is the Daily Star. But Zidane's talked about him nonetheless. And as a Brighton fan, that is mental. Zidane's talked about one of our players. That's fantastic, and he's earned it. He's been bossing midfield. Ruben Neves and João Moutinho, they'll have their hands full, that's for sure, but I think you've definitely got enough quality in midfield to be able to handle him, but he will be a handful. As for Tariq Lamptey, I think everyone's seen what he's done. He's lit up the Premier League. We haven't had someone burst onto the scene like him, well, ever really. Luckily for you, he and your left back, he is still injured, unfortunately, so your left back will have quite an easy game of dealing with a centre-back playing right wing-back, because that's how Potter plays for some reason. And then left wing-back, we have Solly March. Now, he has shown a lot of promise over the past few years, but never actually kicked on to the level that he's at now. And he's been so consistent, like Basuma, with his performances. If England were playing right now, he'd probably be up for a call-up. He's been that good. So your right-back will have a handful of Solly March, that's for sure, but as for your left-back, he should have a pretty simple game, playing against Ben White at right wing back or Joel Veltman at right wing back. So yeah, good luck on Saturday, and but I hope Brighton get all 3 points.
My thoughts going to the Wolves game. It's going to be a tough game. Obviously, whenever we seem to play Wolves, we seem to do quite well. It's normally like a boring stalemate fixture, or we get the better hand of it. But thinking about it, it's going to be tough. Wolves have been quite inconsistent this season, and I'm quite a fan of Wolves. I like how they work and how Nuno's how well he's done at the club, and I like in particular Neto and Podence. Big fans of them, and Jimenez as well. Unfortunately, what happened to him. So yeah, I'm going to be quite nervous going into that because we need points desperately. We're scrapping now. Whether we change the team, I have no idea. It's like a randomizer at this point as to who starts, not starting 11. So, yeah, it's not going to be an easy game by any means, and it's going to be very tough. Wolves are a good side, and we should expect that counter attack is going to be quite devastating, especially if they get it right with our slow centre half. So, yeah.
Which Wolves players worry me the most? For me, it's got to be Neto and Podence. I think they're both very, very tricky wingers, and they will cause our defence a lot of problems going forward. Of course, you also have Adama Traore on the wing. I know he's not had the best performances this season. I know he's struggling, but yeah, he's always a threat with his pace. And of course, you've got the likes of Moutinho and Neves in the centre midfield as well that always provide a threat. So yeah, for me, the main ones are Podence and Neto. Score prediction. Now, I don't want to be a pessimist. I don't want to be negative towards Brighton, but I think Wolves will nick this, whether it be a 1-0 or a 2-1. I don't see them coming, beating us by a lot or battering us. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close fought match. But yeah, to be a pessimist, unfortunately, I think it will be maybe a 1-0 or 2-1 Wolves win.
And a big thanks once again to the Seagulls Social. I'll leave a link to them in the description down below for their YouTube page. They're on Instagram and Twitter as well, so be sure to check them out. Right, predicted lineup time, and this is, again, probably one of the more difficult lineups. We still don't know what's going on with certain players, if players are injured and so on. Obviously, Dendoncker and Willy Bolly are the two players that have got question marks over them right now. And whether Wolves play a back four or back five, I think for this game, Wolves have got to go with a back four. We've got to, I think Brighton possibly are going to go with a back five. So Wolves got to try and attack that a little bit more. I think we made that error against Burnley not to do so. So for me, if we go with a back four, Patricio in goal. I would say Semedo returning in at centre back, at right back. Connor Cody and Romain Sace at centre back, assuming Bolly is injured, and then a left back of Ait-Nouri or Marçal. I would probably go Marçal if he's fit, but Ait-Nouri is a more than adequate player to sit there as well. Central midfield options, you know what? I'd say Neves and Matinho again. They've impressed me last couple of games, not massively, but I've been pleased with how they've worked together. So I'd go with those two there, and then I would start Pedence, Neto, Adama, and Fabio Silva. Let's go for it a little bit more. Let's attack a little bit more and see how Wolves can get on. We really need 3 points here. If we can get 3 points, start off the year in a positive light. Try and, get back to the old Wolves, really. I think, it's just been a bit of a meh season. We're going into games not really knowing what team to expect, what performance to expect. Let's go and hit Brighton hard, get a couple of goals, and see how we can get on. They've got some good defenders. They've got a good, solid team. And I think Brighton fans are probably feeling the same as Wolves. They know there's quality there, but it's just when it's going to come out. When are they going to get the performances? So, it's going to be an intriguing game, that's for sure. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and fingers crossed, we're here tomorrow celebrating a Wolves victory. Until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon.